Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm happy to be with all of you today. Sorry that I'm a little late. I had to speak at another occasion, that the opening of an Bhakti Vaibhava course in London, and it took a little longer than I expected, so please excuse me. That
It's okay, Maharaj. Maybe the solution is that the next times we just use the Zoom link of the temple, and then if people come in at a certain time, then I can always warn them, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So use our own Zoom link then next time.
Good, thank you. That,
no problem.
So, Omagyanatimanasya Chinansana Shakya Sakshvamilitam Yena Tasma Isigurave Nama Namo Vishnavadaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatyai Tezatane. So this afternoon, on this day of Gaura Purnima, then I would like to speak on different aspects of Lord Chaitanya. That first of all, I would like to speak about predictions. That it has been predicted, and it is in the Bhagavatam in different verses, that Lord Chaitanya would appear in Kali Yuga. That after these predictions, I would like to look at who is Lord Chaitanya and why did he come. Then we will hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And at last, we will hear some pastimes, childhood pastimes, about the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, the appearance, and of his pastimes in his youth, when he started to manifest himself as Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya, he appeared in 1486. In 1986, we celebrated all here the 500th birthday of Lord Chaitanya. So today it's the 535th birthday of Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna. So this advent of Lord Chaitanya, it's today on this full moon day. So this full moon is Purnima. Therefore, this is called Gaura Purnima. But first, we will hear about predictions, and I will read a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 9, text 38. This is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is praying, offering his prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev, after killing Hiranyakashipu, is sitting still angry on the throne, and Prahlad Maharaj is trying to pacify him with prayers. And in one of these prayers, and these prayers they have been offered to Lord Nrsimhadev thousands and thousands of years ago. In one of these verses, he speaks about Lord Chaitanya. Incredible that. Though this verse, Canto 7, chapter 9, text 38. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Itam Netriyach Rishideva Jasavatarech Lokam Vibhavayasiham Sijirat Patipan. Dharman Mahapurushapasiyuhan Vrittam Chana Kalaya Dabhavastayuhota Sattvam. In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations. So he's praying to Lord Nrsimha, you appear in different incarnations. As a human being, Lord Krishna appears like a human being. Like an animal, we have Varahadev, Kurma, Matsya, as an animal is said, and as a great saint, Naranarayan Rishi, as a demigod, or a fish, Matsya, or a tortoise, Kurma, thus maintaining the entire creation in different planetary systems and killing the demoniac principles. We hear in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I appear paritranaya sadhanam, vinasaya suduskitam. I appear that to protect the devotees and to vinasaya suduskitam, to kill the demons. That according to the age of my Lord, you protect the principles of religion. Yes, he protects. That's the external reason why the Lord comes. We will see external and internal reasons today. Dat Yadaya Dharmasya Klanik Bhavada Bharata Abhyutanama Dharmasya Tatatmam Chamyam. So in every age, Krishna says, I appear, yuge, every age, to re-establish the principles of religion. Because these principles, when they disappear, I come to re-establish them. And what are these principles? It's to become Krishna conscious, Krishna consciousness. Therefore he comes to re-establish these religions according to the Yuga. So there are Yuga avatars. So many avatars, Lila avatars, Yuga avatars, Sakyavesa avatars, Guna avatars, 6 main avatars. But here, Yuga avatar. According to the age, there are different processes to become Krishna conscious. Because the nature of the people in every age is different. And then Prahlad says, in the age of Kali, does the age now? So he's speaking, that was in Satya Yuga, that's more than 1 million years ago. He says in Kali Yuga now, Prahlad speaks about Kali Yuga. You do not assert yourself as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. You do not present yourself as God. So Lord Chaitanya has appeared as Bhaktarupa in the form of a devotee. He's not presenting him as God. Srila Prabhupada writes that in the purport of this verse, that Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to protect the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. There are 4 yugas or millenniums, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. And all the yugas, but Kali Yuga, the Lord appears in various incarnations and asserts himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in 3 yugas, but not in Kali Yuga. There, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Kali Yuga. And although he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he never asserted himself. If someone would say to the Lord that the Lord Chaitanya, that he is Krishna, he would cover his ears and would not want to hear it. Although he did wonderful things that only God can do. We will see that. So you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, you are known as Triyuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. 5,000 years ago, when the father, Krishna's father, Nandi Maharaj, he got a visit of Gargamuni. And Gargamuni, he performed the name-giving ceremony of Krishna. He performed this name-giving ceremony. And he said to Nanda Maharaj, this son of you is as good as Narayan. So he's Narayan. But you should just love him. And because he's as good as Narayan, he will always protect you in difficult situations. Because this Krishna, he said, is Triyuga. He makes the same point here as Prahlad Maharaj. Triyuga. He appears in 3 yugas. In Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. Well, the second age is normally Dwapara Yuga, and the third age is Treta Yuga, but it's reversed in the 28th Divya Yuga of a day of Brahma. Divya Yuga is 4 sets of Yuga. And so 1,000 of these sets is Brahma's day. And in the 28 days, the Tetra Yuga and Dwapara Yuga are reversed. And then at the end of Dwapara Yuga, then Krishna appears. And in the Kali Yuga follows, he appears again as Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya is not an avatar. He's Krishna himself. He's not one of any incarnations. He's the source of all incarnations. He's Krishna himself. But we will hear about that more. Why Krishna appears as Lord Chaitanya. Now, in the Vedic literature, there are many, especially in the Bhagavatam, there are other verses mentioning about Lord Chaitanya. It's not only this verse of Prahlad Maharaj who speaks about Lord Chaitanya. In the 11th canto, you have the Uddhav Gita. In the Uddhav Gita, there Krishna is speaking to Uddhav. And he says to Uddhav, Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sankho Parastra Sparshanam Shakher Sankirtanam Yayanti Sumedasa. Krishna Varnam, the manifestation, appearance of Krishna, who always repeats Krishna's names. Krishna Varnam. So Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam. Krishnam is not blackish, he's golden. He has the golden hue of Srimad Radharani. Sanko Parapangasta Sparshanam, and he does not come alone, Krishna say. He will come together with all his associates, Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, Shivas, and so many others. So, therefore, in Kali Yuga, the verse says, intelligent men, they will worship this form of Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Jachyer, he is coming to teach us Jachya, a sacrifice, the sacrifice for this age. Jachyer Sankirtan. He comes to explain us Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names. And Jayanti Jayanti Sumedasa, those who are intelligent, they will understand this. That because 5,000 years ago, Krishna, he has explained you just surrender unto me, Krishna says. But who can do that in Kali Yuga? We are so fallen. Give up all material desires and just surrender to Krishna. We are addicted to so many bad habits. We just cannot do it. And Krishna, knowing this, in his mood of compassion, he decided to appear in Kali Yuga as the Yuga avatar to show us how to practice this surrender and come to the point of surrendering to Krishna. Personally, he will come Bhaktarupa in the form of a devotee, and show how to be a devotee of Krishna. How to be a devotee. So that is what Lord Chaitanya came to offer us. At least these are the external reasons that is the Yuga avatar. That's the external reason. It comes to propagate the religious activity for this age, which works in this age. And that is the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All this process of previous ages, they do not work in Kali Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga was deity worship. You can say, oh, we are also doing deity worship. Why then are we doing that? Yes, we do deity worship, and it works when it's combined with the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It must be combined. Now, Lord Chaitanya taught this and practiced this. He came in the form of his own devotee. But there are also more confidential reasons why Lord Chaitanya came. And we need to understand this, to understand the heart of Lord Chaitanya. And this is explained in the first 6 verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishna Das Goswami. So, and these 6 verses gives us an insight in the personal reasons that Krishna had personal reasons to come again in Kali Yuga. Because these personal reasons are mentioned in these first 6 verses of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then after these first six verses, Lord Krishnadas Kaviraj explains these 6 verses in the rest, practically all the rest of the chapters in the Adi Lila. They are just explaining these verses. So how deep these verses are. So we'll try to explore this. So I will read only 3 verses, the verse 4 till 6 of Adi Lila 1. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is written by Krishnadas Kaviraj. It was written about 450 years ago, that in his maturity, his old age, that, and it's written in Bengali. My Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charu said, Bengali is a spiritual language because Lord Chaitanya spoke it. Interesting. But the first six verses, they are in Sanskrit. But still, before chanting, or reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we glorify Lord Chaitanya and his associates. Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Now text 4. Anarpita Shari Im Shira Karunaya Vartirna Kala Samarpaitamuna Samsvabhakti Shriyam Aripurata Sunra Dyuti Kadamba Sandipita Sadaridaya Kandarishpuratu Vasachinanda. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart, resemblant with the radiance of molten gold. He has appeared in Kali Yuga by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant melon of devotional service, the melon of conjugal love. So Lord Chaitanya came to give us something what Lord Krishna did not give, what no incarnation before gave. And we will look at it. The next verse. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikatirla Dini Sakti Asma Ekatmanavapi Bhuva Purideya Bedam Gatata Chaitanya Gyam Pakatam Adunatvatravyam Sakyam Aptam Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Nami Krishna Svarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they are separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Although he is Krishna himself. We read 1 verse 4 and then we will discuss. Text 6. Shiradya pranayamayima kritri sovana jaiva svatyoyana bhuta madurima kritri susvamadiyam sakyam sasyamat anubhavata kritri samvitedo bhat Vadbhavadya Samajani Sachigarba Sindha Arindu. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Lord, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared in the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi, as the moon appeared from the ocean. So this addresses the internal personal reasons for the appearance of Krishna. That he wanted to explore the nature of Srimati Radharani and why. First question that came up: what is it in me that attracts her? He wanted to understand his self, that aspect of himself that attracts Srimati Radharani. That's the first. And then he wanted to understand the nature of the relationship from Srimati Radharani with him. What does she feel? She seems to feel more pleasure than myself, Krishna was thinking. I want to feel that. So this is expressed in these beginning verses in a nutshell of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And what is essential here in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita to understand the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the nature of Lord Chaitanya, one must know this aspect that is explained here in this verse. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nai Anga. That Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined. It is Krishna, but he has taken on the mood, the heart of Srimati Radharani. That and this mood of that Srimati Radharani feels for Krishna is exhibited by Lord Chaitanya, especially in the Antya Lila, in the last chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But this first Jiva Goswami says, it's like the Paribhasa Sutra, one verse governing the whole book, to understand every aspect, of Lord Chaitanya. One may never forget that point while reading the other verses, that Lord Chaitanya is always in the mood of Radharani. Although we cannot explore that here. It's just a much too deep topic. It's explained in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. That, of course, another aspect here, Lord Chaitanya revealed Vrindavan and opened the door for Goloka Vrindavan. It gave entrance to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and empowered Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and the other Goswamis to describe Vrindavan and to describe the process to enter Vrindavan. So what is this process to enter Vrindavan? Rupa Goswami wrote Nectar of Devotion. That process is described in Nectar of Devotion. You need to follow in the footsteps of a Ragatmika devotee, a perfected devotee, a Nitya Siddha devotee, a resident of Vrindavan. Without the mercy of a resident of Vrindavan, you cannot enter Vrindavan. It's not possible. But who is Lord Chaitanya? Who has the most love for Krishna? It's Srimati Radharani. And he's in that mood of Srimati Radharani. Just by following Lord Chaitanya, we can enter this Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka Vrindavan is the highest platform of the spiritual world. It's beyond Vaikuntha, where the residents of Vrindavan live and in a very intimate relationship with Krishna, as friend, as parent, as lover. And Lord Chaitanya gave us this access to the highest realm, which was not available in other ages, not before, was not possible. They could go to Vaikuntha and worship the Lord in awe and reverence. But that deeper love that's needed to go to Goloka Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya made it available. And not just available, he made it available from the Kali Yuga platform, where people are most fallen. By that we can understand how merciful Lord Chaitanya was. So Lord Chaitanya is not just a form of Krishna, it's Krishna himself in the mood of Srimad Radharani. So now today's the 535th appearance of the 535th birthday of Lord Chaitanya. On this day, Gaur Purnima. Gaur Purnima means Purnima. Purnima means full moon. Full moon. So the full moon appeared. But another moon appeared. The moon of Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Lord. And then the moon felt, oh, the Supreme Lord is appearing. I feel ashamed with my little moonshine. And the moon decided, I'm going to diminish my shining. And by that there was an eclipse. It was an eclipse astrologically, it was not predicted that eclipse. But what do Hindus do when there is an eclipse? Do they find it a nice thing? No, that's inauspicious, an eclipse. And what do? They chant the Lord's holy names to counteract that influence. They were chanting Hare, Hare, Krishna, Krishna, and Narayan, and the whole atmosphere became filled with people chanting the holy names of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya appeared and everyone was chanting the holy names of Krishna. That showed already his appearance of the Yuga avatar, who showed us the name, the process for this age to attain perfection. In this age, we don't have the qualities for other ages. So it gave us for this age just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and we become purified. So, as a baby, sometimes, because he was born, Mayapur, you have the yoga pit there is this Nimai tree. He took birth under this Nimai tree. And yes, Lord Chaitanya was Nimai. They called him Nimai, one of the names they gave him. And Nimai would cry like babies do sometimes. They were crying. He was crying very loudly. And Mother Shachi's mother became a little concerned, and all the other mothers that were there to assist. And one of these mothers comes in and say, like someone would say, "Oh God, when is going to stop crying?" And she said, "Hurry, when is going to stop crying?" And Lord Chaitanya, as Nimai, when he heard Hari, the name of Krishna, he stopped crying and was smiling very broadly. And they soon found out every time he would cry, the way to stop him crying was saying Krishna or Hari, and he would smile. So that was, by that he helped them to, he promoted the chanting of Hare Krishna already as a baby like that. But as a child, he did many naughty things like Lord Krishna did. And one day, he was a toddler, and they were in the garden, and there appeared a snake in the garden. And Nimai went to the snake and started to play with the snake. A snake with hoods and with jewels on the head, quite dangerous. And Nimai was playing with it. And the mothers came and rescued him from the snake and brought him inside. And Nimai started to crying, I want to go to the snake. It's my snake. And he was, and they tried to hold him, but he made such a movements that he came out of their grip, and he ran again to the garden and again embraced the snake. And they were completely bewildered. Such a dangerous snake that. But of course, this snake was Anantashesha, the incarnation of Krishna, who serves him in so many ways. When Krishna appeared in the prison and Vasudeva was bringing him in the night, Vasudeva was bringing him to Gokul in the night, then we have Anantashesha above as an umbrella. So Anantashesha of Balaram, that very interesting. But Lord Chaitanya, it did not immediately manifest that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So his parents, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi, Mother Sachi, they were known as great devotees. But in the beginning, Nimai was externally, he was not a devotee. Although he was sitting in the same class as Gadadhar Pandit, Mukunda and others, and they were devotees. And they would ask Nimai, you should chant Hare Krishna. And Nimai said, why bother chanting? He said, no, not chanting. You should learn grammar, rhetoric, debate, logic. And Nimai would go around and defeat everyone in logic, debate. But Mukunda said, I wish you become a devotee. You could be such a great devotee. You would be able to be a preacher and convince people. You would be such a great devotee. And Lord Chaitanya said, all right, I tell you what. I will become a devotee then, just to make you happy. And then Nimai said, I will become such a devotee, he said, that you will never have seen a devotee like me. I will become the topmost devotee. So that's the last thing a devotee would say, that is very humble. But Lord Chaitanya said, I will become such a devotee. And Mukunda thought, this is just too much. This is too much. But Nimai continued, I will become such a devotee, he says, that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva will appear, just to take the dust of my lotus feet. So as devotees, we are not encouraged to say things like that. But this is what he said. And Lord Chaitanya, Nimai said, I will become the best devotee of all times. And Mukunda was saying, this is too much. So in the beginning, Lord Chaitanya as Nimai, he kept his identity hidden. But he started to reveal his identity. One day, there was a kirtan in the house of Srivas Thakur. And Srivas Thakur, he had an altar, and on the altar, he was worshipping Shalagram Shila. So he was worshipping the Shalagram Shila. And But Lord Chaitanya came and he put the Salagram Shila aside and he put himself on the place of the Salagram Shila. And then he called devotees one by one and he revealed his form as Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimhadev, as Lord Krishna, and he called, the first devotee he called was Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta, he was a doctor, was a devotee and a doctor. He was in the mood of Hanuman, worshipping Lord Ram. And people would come to him for treatment, but he would treat the body and the soul. He would say, for the body, you take that medicines and this and that. And for your heart, for the soul, he prescribed always you chant so many rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra. So he was curing their spiritual and material diseases. So Lord Chaitanya called for Murari Gupta. And Lord Chaitanya said to Murari Gupta, look at me. And Murari Gupta looked at him, but he did not see Lord Chaitanya. He saw Sita Ram. Of course, we have just said Lord Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nai Anga is Radha and Krishna together. So Radha and Krishna is there, but he saw Sita Ram. He saw Sita Ram. And then he looked aside Murari Gupta and he saw that Nityananda was Lakshman. So he said to the Lord, Sitaram Lakshman. He said to Lord Ram, where is Hanuman? And Lord Chaitanya said, you look at yourself, Murari. And he looked at himself and he could see that he was Hanuman. And then after that, Lord Chaitanya, he called for Haridas Thakur. And he said to Haridas Thakur, do you remember, Haridas? You were beaten in 24 marketplaces. And you did not die. You did not feel any great pain. Normally, one dies after 6 marketplaces, then the person dies. But after 24 marketplaces, Haridas did not die. And Haridas said, yes, I remember that. And Lord Chaitanya said to him, I took that beating. I put my back over your back, and I took all this beating. And then Lord Chaitanya showed his back, and all these injuries were there from this beating. And just Haridas, he collapsed. That was too much. But then, after that, the Sankirtan movement started. They started to go out. They started to go out and chant publicly the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So they were chanting this Hare Krishna mantra in public in ecstatic ways. But then after some time, the Muslim police came and broke their mridrangas and said to the devotees, don't try that ever again, we will get you. When Lord Chaitanya heard this, he became furious. And he organized for thousands and thousands of people to come out and chant the holy names in public, in and they went up to the house of the Qazi, the Muslim ruler. And there, Lord Chaitanya, who showed his great anger, then had a meeting with the Qazi. And the Qazi had a change of heart. And he decided to don't disturb anymore the Sankirtan movement. And since that day, the followers of Lord Chaitanya, the followers of the Qazi, if you go to that place there where this protest was in the house of the Qazi, in that village, you see many Muslims and they look like Muslims with beards and that. But when you go there, they will say Hare Krishna. That and they are very favorable. That kind of devotees. Until today, they respect the Sankirtan movement, Lord Chaitanya. That so yes, in the Bhagavatam it said, Kali Dasi Nide Rajam. In Kali Yuga, people have unlimited bad qualities. But they have one good quality, is that just by chanting these holy names of Krishna, just by chanting these holy names, they become purified. And that is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And today, on this day of his appearance, we can get his mercy. Because this mercy was brought to us by his great general, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Chaitanya is spread the holy names in India, but he said in the future my great field commander will come and he will spread it, and this chanting will be heard in every town and village all over the world. And that is Srila Prabhupada. He brings us this mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore, Lord Srila Prabhupada made it a point that we chant these holy names of Krishna. And we celebrate this great festival of Gaura Purnima. And after that, have an ecstatic feast. So today is a day to pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, because we cannot approach Radha Krishna without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It's not possible. We need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya to approach Radha and Krishna. Because Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined. By his mercy, we can enter into this realm of pure bhakti, love of Godhead, and go back to Godhead. Thank you very much. So, this was my introduction to Lord Chaitanya today, on this auspicious day. Are there any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, wonderful nectarian katha. And we could go on listening and listening more and more and more. Because it's very wonderful nectarian katha. And it really it touches my heart. I think everyone's heart is touched by this nectarian Krishna katha. And we can say so many things. I was just one point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful incarnation. And I'm more merciful than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Nityananda Prabhu, right? Now, more merciful than Lord Nityananda Prabhu is Srila Prabhupada. It's Guru, Sri Guru, right?
Yeah, sure. That's how the mercy comes to us.
And that's unlimited. That mercy is unlimited. Prabhupada's mercy. Now, just that thought came to me after hearing your katha. I don't know, anybody has some questions or comments on Maharaj's lecture? And please, you go ahead, you know. I don't know, Maharaj, how much time you have to stay here?
Well, I've around 5 o'clock another lecture, so.
Okay, so those who would like to say something or ask questions, please go ahead.
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, I made that question. Set my basis on Srila Prabhupada.
Because it said also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yeah, he's Krishna himself in his most ecstatic form. He said he will flood the world with love of Godhead, and nobody would escape. So I know it's going on, but when will that happen more and more?
Yeah, that's I think there was this concern of Ganga Matam. She was saying in Kali Yuga, all these simple people will come to bathe in me, and I will be loaded by their sinful reactions. How am I going to become purified? And the Lord said, don't worry about that. In Kali Yuga, people will come from all over the world, great bhaktas, great pure devotees, and they will bathe in your waters and purify you. So, because in Kali Yuga, further in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya, he will appear and he will send his field commander, Srila Prabhupada, and he will give this Krishna consciousness to those who escape India, who are in other countries. So that they can't escape. He will go everywhere. And he will spread it all over in all towns and villages. So that is the prediction. And that is what Srila Prabhupada did. And therefore, today we can also appreciate the position of Srila Prabhupada. It should not be diminished in any way. He is a direct servitor of Lord Chaitanya. But this work is not done. This pastime of Lord Chaitanya is still going on.
Just beginning.
And we are part of this pastime if we help with the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, it's so important that we engage in Srila Prabhupada's mission and try to help him. And then we please Prabhupada, we please Lord Chaitanya, we please Srimati Radharani, and that gives us entrance to Goloka Vrindavan, even in Kali Yuga. This is a mercy which has never given by any incarnation before. Never. But the work is not finished. You are asking when it's going to happen. It depends on us. We must become the instrument all of Prabhupada and help with the spreading. And that's these 10,000 years which are predicted. In this 10,000 years, Lord Chaitanya, it was predicted that it would happen, the golden years. And this is only the beginning. That
Yes.
so that, and if we become aware of Srila Prabhupada's position as the confidential servant of Prabhupada and do our best to assist him, then the impossible will become possible in Kali Yuga. And that why? Because Srila Prabhupada is so dear to Lord Chaitanya. We see in the Bhagavatam also. Narada Muni cursed someone, the Nala Kuvera and Manijeva, and he tells them that yes, you will be liberated by Lord Krishna. Then you will come back. So because Narada Muni said this, Krishna had to arrange for their liberation. He was forced because his pure devotee said that. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, you have to chant 64 rounds of you are not a human being. And Prabhupada in the beginning said, you have to chant 16 rounds, and the devotee said, no, we cannot do that. We'll chant then 32 rounds. And Srila Prabhupada said, and the devotee said, it's still too much, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, you chant 16 rounds minimum and do service, but no less. So he made this compromise for us. If we do that simple thing, we will make progress in our spiritual life and get the mercy. Because you may think, yes, am I going back to Godhead? That someone asked Srila Prabhupada, if we are 90% pure, will Krishna accept us? And Srila Prabhupada said yes. And 80%. Srila Prabhupada said yes, but it would not go lower. We must become purified to a certain extent. But to go to the spiritual world, you must be 100% pure. But Srila Prabhupada said 80% Krishna will accept you. Because Srila Prabhupada said Krishna is bound to accept us. And that is his mercy. The mercy of Srila Prabhupada coming to Lord Chaitanya. So what we can also learn from this pastime today is this mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that we should not take it for granted. That, but if we please Srila Prabhupada, we will get that mercy. That is assured. That, and even if we are not 100% pure, what happens if you are 80–90% pure? We have the example from the Bhagavatam of the sages from Dandakaranya. They met Lord Ram 2 million years ago. And they said to Lord Ram, we want to have a relationship with you in conjugal love. And Lord Ram said, with me, not possible. Eka Patni, I made a vow of one wife, Sita. That's all. But in 2 million years, when I come as Lord Krishna, then you can have that relationship with him, with me, as Krishna. And they took all birth as the Munichari gopis, in the wombs of gopis, Nitya Siddhi gopis. And they were trained by them to become completely pure. But that is already a spiritual birth. So if we are 80% pure, then still we take a birth where Krishna is his pastimes, that and be purified, trained up by Nitya Siddhi devotees. But that's already a spiritual birth. But we don't have to wait for that. If we are engaging in Srila Prabhupada's mission, we are part of Chaitanya Lila. It never stopped. We are part of it. And when we engage in spreading the chanting of the holy names and teaching devotional service, as Lord Chaitanya taught us, we will become very dear to Lord Chaitanya. And then we may go directly back to Godhead, because he will help us to purify us very quickly if we engage in this spreading. That's also explained in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam, there it says, yes, that Shimva, yeah, the Shusha Dansya Vasev Kata, which is Yanmet Sevayava Prapuyatirne Shivana. If we hear about Krishna and we serve the devotees, then our heart will become purified. But that engaging in the mission of pleasing the spiritual master, pleasing Srila Prabhupada, is important. And then Krishna, he does all what's needed to bring us back to the spiritual world, because he wants us to come back. And therefore he made this arrangement that he came as Lord Chaitanya, and so merciful, so merciful. Does this help, Amita Krishna?
Very much, Maharaj. Thank you. While you're explaining, I remember then 8th chapter of Adilila, where the desires tree of devotional service, where every part of the tree, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the trunk, but he's also branches, through the Namahatas and the Bhakti Vriksas, that every part has its potency. So, yes, it makes sense that as soon as one of us, we accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in our life, on the spot we are empowered to give it to somebody else. So that each of us members, we do endeavors to share it out through now social media is an enormous opportunity to share so many things, to wake up people in small pieces, and can speed up, but that it is the responsibility of each and every member, not only the older devotees or experienced devotees or whatever, but everybody.
Yes,
speed up.
I experienced that also. I'm a great nonsense. I don't know anything, but somewhere or another, Krishna tells me what I have to say, and I'm preaching somewhere or another. That I realize this is not my potency. This is Krishna's potency.
Oh,
yes,
nice point.
That's for sure. So,
Thank you.
any other points or questions?
So Maharaj, you're explaining very nicely that I heard my Guru say also that we are mere a pipe. We are not the tap is not the place where the water originates from, but the tap is helping the water to flow through. So similarly, also you're also a pipe through which the mercy can flow today of this Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, coming through you, from your mouth, and we are hearing very nicely. I mentioned one time, one point, that if a rat goes through to Vaikuntha because he was nibbling on the Deepa, on the altar, and Lord considered him to have done offer a lamp, and there are many examples like this, that bird which was going around the mandir with a broken wing, fleeing. So then we're doing Harinam Sankirtan all over the world for over 50 years, all over the planet. And everyone who has seen that Harinam, who has responded to it, in a positive way by making a little dance or waving the hand or whatever, you know, like Amita sometimes goes like this and the people go like that, you know. And all those people, when they take birth again, if not in this life, then they will be remembered by Krishna. They will become devotees like this. So actually it is going on, but it will take some time. But many things are going on.
Yeah, we have distributed so many books.
Oh, yes.
We can't see the effect of it.
In Belgium, every household, I would say, has a book.
As a book. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a great fortune. That I'm realizing, because I was for many years in England, and like at the Bhaktivedanta, so many people come, all Hindus, Gujaratis, thousands and thousands. On a Sunday, at least 1,000 come take darshan. But you ask them, who is Lord Chaitanya? They don't know. They don't know. They know Radha and Krishna, but not Lord Chaitanya.
yeah.
And so we have still some work to do there to understand them and to get them, give them the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Because Radha and Krishna we can only approach in Kali Yuga to Lord Chaitanya. It's not possible.
Yes.
That's certainly. So the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That yes, Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Sometimes, in some occasions, he would give lecture and he would become ecstatic and say, yes, it's all the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, it's all the mercy of Lord Nityananda, it's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That, yes. And today, the mercy is available. You can get it very easily today. Just celebrate its festival nice at your home. That chant some extra rounds of Hare Krishna and ask Lord Chaitanya's mercy that it may go into our heart. Yes.
Can we give everyone darshan here of Nitai Gaura Nataraj and
Yeah,
our
sure.
Nitai and Nitai Gaura Nataraj? Because we take care of them here.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll show them. Hare Krishna. I hope it's like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai Ki. This in double mercy. Jai.
Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. It's a little bit difficult. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
We cannot receive people at home. It's not really allowed, you know. It's a bit difficult. But our neighbors also are difficult persons. And if you come like, if I would allow all of you to come in here, they will certainly call police on us, you know. So that's the problem. But if people come one by one it's okay, you know. I mean, we will offer at moonrise to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We offer at 7 o'clock. We'll offer at Boga. And after that, anyone you want to come is okay, but only one at a time, you know. And then we'll give you some Mahaprasad. And to some of you, we'll bring tomorrow some Mahaprasad to 1 or 2 of you, 3 of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Maharaj. Thank you very much for your time and for your nice association. And all of you, thank you very much also.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Nice.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Bhakti Prabhu Maharaj ki jai.
Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Gaura Nitai ki Jai.
Jai Shri Nitai Gaura.
Gaur Premananda.
Gaura Premananda. Hari Hari Bol.